Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Abyss Actor Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post Duel Overload. With the release of the Duel Overload set, we received the new Link 1 monster for Abyss Actors, which definitely does help for the overall purpose of the deck, which is to set up your pendulum scales and then have different effects based on how many different Abyss Actors you have out on the field, and then just go for the big power plays you can do with all of your different Abyss Actor boss monsters. It's a really fun deck. It was used by Shingo Sawatari in the Arc 5 anime. It was his final deck after going through so many different decks in the anime, Yosenjus, Monarchs, you name it, finally finishing up on this deck. Very happy with the results of the deck. A few cards, which I'll show, which I would put in place of some of the ones I am missing for the deck, some of the more difficult Abyss Actors to get, but I'll show which cards I've replaced for what when we get to them in the deck profile. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So for the Abyss Actor monsters, we do run a good amount of the different pendulum monsters, with our main one being Abyss Actor Superstar. All of them having they're all pendulum monsters as well. There's no non-pendulum Abyss Actor monsters that we run. Once per turn, you can tribute one Abyss Actor monster, then target one Abyss Script spell in your graveyard and add to your hand. So with Superstar in your pendulum scale, you have awesome recycle power with this card, but the main play is with its monster effect. When normal or special summon, your opponent's spell and trap cards and effects cannot be activated, and once per turn you can set one Abyss Script spell directly from your deck, but it is sent to the graveyard during the end phase. So basically the setup that you want to activate those Abyss Scripts that you set up with this card, but also making it so your opponent can't activate anything when this card is summoned means you have a big power play when you pendulum summon this card also, and being a 2500 attack point monster is your go-to boss monster in the deck for sure. Just being able to have that setup with some of the other ones that we run in the deck, including Mellow Madonna and also our Evil Heal, all backups to Superstar and his main plays. I also run, just so we have some good scale setup and just easy special summons, I run 3 Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your pendulum zone. You can only use this effect of Curtain Raiser once per duel. But with this setup, you also have a high 7 scale that you can put in the pendulum scale, and also it gains 1100 attack if you control no other monsters. And once per turn, you can send one Abyss Script spell from your deck to the graveyard to add one face-up Abyss Actor pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So we're still limited with Master Rule for just how many cards we can pendulum summon out from the extra deck. They'll still have to go into the extra monster zone, but if we can just recycle those cards back into our hand, we can easily summon them all out. So Curtain Raiser also helps with that play, but just being an easy special summon of one monster, we can go into our main Link monster, which is Abyss Actor Hyper Director, just being a Link 1, and this card helps to set up so many different plays in the deck, which we'll get to when we go over the extra deck as well. You definitely want to run 3 Curtain Raiser as well. It just helps so much with the setup of your field, basically. I also run 3 Abyss Actor extras. With this one, if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your pendulum zone. You can only use this effect of actors extras once per turn. But once again, just like Curtain Raiser, depending on how you play it, if you either have no monsters or if your opponent controls a monster, it's just an easy special summon onto the field for you to use. Also being another low scale, one of the things I tried the best to balance out were just the low and high scale, so you can easily have different pendulum summons out onto the field like you want. And you contribute this card to place one Abyss Actor Pendulum from your deck in your pendulum zone. Also for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters except Abyss Actor monsters, nor activate the pendulum effect of Abyss Actor extras. You can only use this effect of Abyss Actor extras once per turn, but the restriction doesn't really matter too much, since a lot of our plays revolve around all the different Abyss Actor monsters. So running the 3 extras definitely just helps for that setup, depending on which one you want to go for, whether it's the special summon or just the addition of adding the different ones from your deck into your hand to use, whether it be your boss monster or just some of the different scales we run in the deck also. And I also run 3 Abyss Actor Sassy Rook. The first time this card will be destroyed by battle or card effect each turn, it is not. And if this card is destroyed by battle, or if it's in its owner's monster zone, destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can special summon one level 4 lower Abyss Actor monster from your deck, except Abyss Actor Sassy Rook. If this card is in the pendulum zone is destroyed, you can target one level 4 lower monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So you have options, whether it's special summoning or destroying your opponent's cards with Sassy Rook. And in the pendulum scale, if an Abyss Actor monster would be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead. So like I said, it's just that extra protection that this card can do that definitely does come in handy, with it being another level 4, just an easy one to summon out also if you don't go for the Pendulum Summon. And I also run 3 Abyss Actor Comic Relief. We run pretty high numbers of all the different Abyss Actor monsters, but that's just because they all run very, very well together. If you can set up your Pendulum Scale and then Pendulum Summon out a bunch of different Abyss Actor monsters. Abyss Actor Comic Relief, being one of our level 8 scales, is also one of the ones we use for the setup to Pendulum Summon out our higher level ones, like Superstar. Once it's set up in the scale, you can target 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls. Switch control of both monsters, then destroy this card. You can only use this effect of Comic Relief once per turn. If your opponent has a true boss monster that you want, you can easily give them one of your weaker Abyss Actor monsters and then have them go with that while you get the extra monster that they might have worked very, very difficult for to get out onto the field. And with this card, you take no battle damage from attacks involving this card, and once per turn during your standby phase, give control of this card to your opponent. And once per turn, if you control this face-up card, changes, activate this effect, the owner of this card can destroy or set 1 Abyss Actor spell in their spell and trap card zone. So more options. Once again, I really do like it the most for its Pendulum Scale effect, though, since you just have the high scale as well to rely on. So after you Pendulum Summon, you can then swap the possession of one of your Abyss Actors with one of your opponent's monsters. And I also run 3 Abyss Actor Evil Heal, one of our bigger monsters. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1,000 attack for each Abyss Actor monster you currently control until the end of this turn. And when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target 1 Abyss script spell in your graveyard and set that card. There are no restrictions on the set card, like being sent to the graveyard or being destroyed. It's just a good setup. Most of the time, you do have to normal summon this card out or use it for its lower scale also. So something to remember with this card. But also once per turn, you contribute 1 Abyss Actor monster, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses attack equal to the original attack of the attributed monster. So then you can just hit against your opponent's monsters with some of your stronger Abyss Actor monsters for some real power plays using Evil Heal and all your different cards also in the deck. And then for one of the more important ones for sure, I run the 3 Abyss Actor Mellow Madonna. I only have the 2 in here for now, so if you don't have Mellow Madonna, you can sub in it with Abyss Actor Leading Lady, but you definitely want to get a hold of Mellow Madonna. Very important is a 0 scale, so you can even Pendulum Summon out your level 1 Abyss Actor monsters with it. You can pay 1,000 life points to add 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. It's also that Searcher, except for Mellow Madonna. Also, you cannot Special Summon for the rest of this turn, except for Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters, even if this card leaves the field. And also, you can only use this effect of Abyss Actor Mellow Madonna once per turn. So it kind of takes away from the Link monster. Remember that with Mellow Madonna, just for the fact that it limits for, you know, your special summoning being Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters, not just Abyss Actor monsters. But I really do like it also for its monster effect. It gains 100 attack for each Abyss script spell in your graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Mellow Madonna once per turn. When a Pendulum monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if an Abyss script spell or trap is activated, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your deck, but it returns to the hand during the end phase. So you special summon it, but being able to return it to the hand to reuse later on as a Pendulum Scale or a Pendulum Summon definitely comes in handy with this card, being, I would say, the true backup to your main go-to monster Superstar. But the search power that this card has makes it one of your best Pendulum Scales in the deck for sure, being a low scale, then having that high scale power as well to rely on. And I'm also running, to finish off the monsters, 3 Abyss Actor Trendy Understudy. Now, if you have Abyss Actor Wild Hope, I would substitute this card with that card. It's just a more difficult secret rare, I would say, to get a hold of. It hasn't been reprinted like a lot of the other different Abyss Actor monsters. So if you have Wild Hope, you can put it in for this spot. If not, you can use Trendy Understudy. When you're Pendulum Summon a monster, you can add 1 face-up level 1 or 8 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So with this card, you have a easy way to add back your Evil Heal to your hand, or even your extras, depending on which one you go for. It's another high scale as well, just like Wild Hope for that play. Wild Hope has more of a search effect that you can go off of, but also this one sets up for the tribute to special summon a level 8 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your hand or face up from your extra deck. So one of the quicker ways to also get out Evil Heal with this special summon, since you can't Pendulum Summon Evil Heal since it is a level 8, and the highest our scale goes is up to level 8 also. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 of the field spell. Abyss, Playhouse, Fantastic Theater. You can reveal 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster and 1 Abyss Script spell in your hand. Add 1 Abyss Script spell from your deck to your hand, whose different name than the revealed spell. And then if you control a pendulum, summon Abyss Actor Pendulum monster. Any monster effects activated by your opponent becomes destroy 1 set spell card you control that your opponent controls. You can only use each effect of Abyss Playhouse once per turn. The change effect helps especially to destroy your Abyss scripts you have on the field, and then just being able to have that set up for the different Abyss scripts, revealing the different Abyss actors and Abyss scripts in your hand is an added plus also. Plus the 1 terraforming to search out the field spell. You definitely want to have it set up when you get your scales and monsters ready, because then you're just basically making your opponent play into your hands with all the different effects you'll be able to get off and the ones that you'll change for your opponent. And then for the additional Abyss script cards, I'm also running 3 Abyss Script Opening Ceremony. You gain 500 life points for each Abyss Actor monster you control. If this set card its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and you have a face-up Abyss Actor Pendulum in your extra deck, you can draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. You can only use each effect of Abyss Script Opening Ceremony once per turn. So if this card is set by your different Abyss Actor monsters and your opponent destroys it because of your field spell, you're then able to get that draw power to get more and more Abyss Actors into your hand, which is what you'll want your opponent to do. So you won't want to have any other cards really set up on the field. You'll just want to rely on this card. And I also run 3 Abyss Script Rise of the Abyss King. You target 1 face-up card on the field up to the number of attack position Abyss Actor monsters with different names you control, and then destroy them. If you control level 7 or higher Abyss Actor monster, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. And if this set card on the owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and you have a face-up Abyss Actor Pendulum monster in your extra deck, you can add up to 2 Abyss Actor cards and or Abyss Script spells with different names from your deck to your hand. Search power, destruction power, this card does it all, and when you have your level 7 one on the field, your opponent can't react to it. So just having this destruction power is very, very strong after your pendulum summon for sure. And for some of the 1-ups, I run 1 Abyss Script Fantasy Magic and 1 Abyss Tainment. I might up it to 2 Abyss Tainment depending on what I wanted to do for the search, but having the different names just helps for some of the other reliance for some of your Abyss Actor monsters. So it's just the numbers I decided on for the deck. And the only non-Abyss Actor Abyss Script card I'm running in the main deck is Allure of Darkness, just having plenty of Dark Attribute monsters to draw into. If you open up multiples and you want some different cards to draw into, it just helps for that draw power, and because you really want to have different Abyss Actors in your hand to go for the Pendulum Summon also. And then for the traps, I'm just running the 1 Abyss Actor Curtain Call. With this one, if an Abyss Script spell card or effect is activated this turn, you add face-up Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters from your extra deck to your hand up to the number of Abyss Script spells in your graveyard. Then you can special summon Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters from your hand with different names up to the number of monsters added to your hand. It's just a good way to recycle those cards back onto the field, and basically it is a curtain call, calling back the monsters you already used back onto the stage for the final, bow for the curtain call. And that is it for the main deck. When I move on to the extra deck, I run 3 Abyss Actor Hyper Director. Like I said, this card is your new go-to setup in the deck. You need 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster to make it, so you can't use Hyper Director to link into another Hyper Director. You can target 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, special summon it, then place 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster with a different name from your deck face up in the extra deck to your Pendulum Zone. You cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except Abyss Actor monsters, and you can only use this effect of Abyss Actor Hyper Director once per turn. So this card is your basic go-to setup for your different cards, being able to get one out from your Pendulum Scale onto the field very easily, and then setting up another one in your Pendulum Scale for you to summon out onto the field. Very, very useful, and I'll show the play I like to do to have the initial setup with the deck. And I also run 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice, 1 Master King Archfiend, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Borolo Dragon, and 1 Borosword Dragon. And then the other summon I can do sometimes, but don't forget, with a lot of these Link monsters, you will be limited to what you can special summon with the different Abyss Actor monsters. So I run the 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Castell, 1 number 41, and the 1 number 11 Big Eye for the Exceed monsters. When you can make them, it helps and comes in handy. But a lot of the times, you're just going to rely on your Abyss Actor monsters. So going with the scale, let's say you have your go-to card, like I said before, being your your Curtain Raiser. If you set this card in the scale and then special summon it onto your field without even taking up the normal summon, yet you have your monster to go into your Hyper Director, which you'll link off into your Hyper Director, and then being able to basically set up your scales. They can be whichever cards you want. Even if you're not happy with the scale results, you can even have the Comic Relief and your Evil Heal, or even just another low scale setup before even the Comic Relief. If you have your Sassy Rook and your Evil Heal on the field, you can use Hyper Director to target a card in your Pendulum Zone, special summon it so you can easily get out Evil Heal this way, and then place one Abyss Actor Pendulum monster with a different name from your deck or face up in the extra deck to your Pendulum scale, which you have the Curtain Raiser that you used for the summon of Hyper Director to place, or you can go for another higher scale and then Pendulum summon out the Curtain Raiser back onto the field also. It limits you for your special summon, but being able to get out these bigger monsters onto the field is a big plus for sure, just for you to swing into your opponent also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Definitely do look into it. It's a lot of fun for a Pendulum deck. It goes against some of the Pendulum Magician plays and plays off of more of its own play style, relying a lot on the Abyss Actor monsters for sure. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.